Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. In a new political twist in South Korea, opposition moves to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo. Ruling People's Power Party says cannot accept it. Syria's new rulers declare crackdown as tensions flare in the coastal area. Iraq, Lebanon, Russia reach out to the new government in Damascus for good neighbourly relations. On the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean Tsunami, India's Dr. Jitendra Singh says that India is now a global leader helping nations around the world in disaster management. South Korea's ruling People's Power Party, PPP, has urged the opposition to halt efforts to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo. The main opposition, the Democratic Party, introduced a bill to impeach Han, planning a vote on Friday. This move could worsen the constitutional crisis stemming from former President Yoon Suk-yeol's brief martial law. PPP acting chair Kwon Seong-dong criticized the opposition's actions, claiming that they were crippling the government.
The Democratic Party's deluge and tsunami of impeachments has now gone beyond paralyzing the government to completely devastating state affairs. What the Democratic Party seeks to impeach today is not the acting president Han Duck-soo, but the government itself, the livelihoods of the public, diplomacy in South Korea.
Now, South Korea's political landscape faces significant uncertainty as the Constitutional Court prepares to hear the impeachment case of President Yoon Suk-yeol. Following his impeachment, Yoon's powers are suspended, with Prime Minister Han Duck-soo acting as president. Here's a report on the key issues for the South Korea's road ahead.
After being impeached on December 14, Yoon's presidential powers are suspended. But he remains in office and appointed Prime Minister Han Duck-soo as acting president. The Constitutional Court must decide within 180 days whether to remove Yoon from office or reject the impeachment. If the court removes Yoon or he resigns, a presidential election must be held within 60 days. The court is due to hold its first preparatory hearing on Friday. Ex-Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun was the first of a series of officials to be arrested and is likely to be the first to face indictment on accusation of being a central figure in President Yoon Suk-yeol's surprise martial law declaration. Under South Korea's constitution, 6 justices must agree in order to oust an impeached president. The current justices would have to vote unanimously to remove Yoon. The court has said that it can deliberate and hear arguments with just 6 justices. There is precedent for an acting president appointing a constitutional court justice, as occurred when former President Park was impeached in 2016-17. In South Korea's only previous presidential removal by impeachment, the court took 3 months to oust Park in 2017. In the case of Park, the court voted unanimously to remove her, including some justices viewed as conservative and 2 Park appointees. Yoon also faces criminal investigations related to the martial law decision. If charged, he could ask the Constitutional Court to suspend the 180-day clock on the impeachment ruling. The court denied a similar request in Park's case. In 2004, then-President Roh Moon-hyun was impeached on the charge of failing to maintain political neutrality as required of a high public official. The court rejected the motion after about 2 months and Roh fulfilled his 5-year term. Bureau Report, DD, India.
Japan's airline systems returned to normal with same-day ticket sales resuming after a cyber attack delayed some domestic and international flights. The attack began at 22:24 GMT and affected the company's internal and external systems, post which the company shut down a router that was causing system malfunctions and had also suspended ticket sales for flights departing on Thursday. No customer information was leaked. However, the company said that it suffered no damage from computer viruses. All Nippon Airways or ANA, Japan's other major air carrier, saw no signs of an attack on its systems. Japan Airlines is just the latest Japanese firm to be hit by a cyber attack. The country's space agency, JAXA, was targeted in 2023, although no sensitive information about rockets or satellites was accessed. The same year, one of Japan's busiest ports was hit by a ransomware attack blamed on Russia-based Lockbit Group. In 2022, a cyber attack at a Toyota supplier forced the top-selling automaker to halt operations at domestic plants. And more recently, the popular Japanese video-sharing website Nico Nico came under a large cyber attack in June. On to Syria now. The new Syrian military leadership launched an operation on Thursday to pursue the remnants of ousted President Bashar al-Assad's administration in the countryside of Tartous province in western Syria. This comes after 14 members of the police were killed and 10 others injured in an ambush by forces loyal to the ousted government in the Tartous countryside. The clashes took place after security forces sought to arrest an officer under deposed leader Bashar al-Assad, who was linked to a notorious prison. Syrian new interior minister has vowed crackdown on anyone who dares to undermine Syria's security or endanger the lives of its citizens. The ambush comes as demonstrations and an overnight curfew elsewhere marked the most widespread unrest since Bashar al-Assad's removal more than 2 weeks ago. So in the changing scenario in Syria, neighbors now hope for better and secured relations in the post-Assad era. An Iraqi delegation, including the head of intelligence, met on Thursday with the new Syrian administration. The two sides discussed developments in Syria and the needs for security and stability along their shared borders. While Lebanon, in its first official message to the new administration in Damascus, said it was looking forward to having the best neighborly relations with Syria. Lebanese Foreign Minister Abdullah Bau Habib passed the message to his Syrian counterpart Asad Hassan al-Shibani in a phone call. So the Iraqi delegation met with Syria's new rulers in Damascus, marking the latest diplomatic outreach since the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime over 2 weeks ago. Led by Iraqi intelligence chief Hamid al-Shatre, the delegation discussed regional developments and security and stability needs along the shared border. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has described Syria's ties with Moscow as long-standing and strategic, echoing sentiments shared by Syria's new rulers. Earlier this week, Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov confirmed ongoing diplomatic and military contacts between Russia and Syria's new administration.
The head of the new authorities in Syria, Ahmad al-Shara, recently spoke, where he recalled the relations between our countries long-standing and strategic. We share this assessment. We indeed have a lot in common with our Syrian friends.
A prison riot in Mozambique's capital Maputo left 33 people dead and 15 injured as civil unrest linked to October's disputed election continues. A day after violent protests and looting spread across Mozambique's capital, smoke billowed from destroyed buildings and charred and broken objects in shops and municipal buildings remained as residents gathered in the streets. A decision by Mozambique's top court on Monday confirmed long-ruling party Frelimo's victory in the election that sparked fresh nationwide protests by opposition groups and their supporters who say that the vote was rigged. The country's police general commander Bernardino Rafael blamed the protests outside the prison for encouraging the riots inside the prison, while Justice Minister Helena Kida said that the unrest started inside the prison was not linked to the protests outside. Rafael said that about 1,534 people escaped from the prison in the incident, but 150 have now been recaptured.
What we expect after escape of 1,534 inmates who committed major crimes in the country is that in the next 40 or 48 hours, there will be dizzying increase in crime in Maputo. Increase of all types of crimes because they are specialists in all types of crimes. There will be an increase in robberies, assaults, rape of women, car theft, armed robberies, even kidnappings.
Vai subir o crime de roubo.
And next we take a look at other stories making news around the world. Nippon Steel announced on Thursday that it has revised the closing date for its acquisition of US Steel to be the first quarter of 2025, up from the previously estimated third or fourth quarter of 2024. The company expressed confidence that the acquisition will protect and grow US Steel's business. A group of skiers in France's Les Deux-Volets were rescued on Tuesday after a chairlift broke down due to an electrical failure, leaving several hundred people stranded. No injuries were reported. Emergency workers used helicopters to reach the stranded individuals, with eyewitness videos showing people being helped to abseil down. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted on Christmas Day, releasing gold-like lava despite its alert level being reduced. The eruption began around 2 a.m. local time on Monday. Following the event, the volcano's alert status was lowered from warning to watch, and its aviation color code was downgraded from red to orange. Kilauea is one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. India's President Draupadi Murmu confers Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar on children for their exceptional achievements. Veer Bal Diwas being observed in India. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi remembers the sacrifice of the Sahibzades. And teenage batter Constance ramps up the fun as Australia in a commanding position against India at the end of day one in the Boxing Day Test.
December 26, 2004, a devastating earthquake off the coast of Indonesia triggered a tsunami that swept across the Indian Ocean. India was one of the worst affected countries. Today, after 20 years, we reflect on the tragedy and explore how the nation has since fortified itself against such calamities.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. It's been 2 decades since the 2004 tsunami struck on this day, when the world woke to one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern history. An undersea earthquake in the Indian Ocean triggered gigantic waves of up to 30 meters in height, claiming over 300,000 lives, causing unimaginable destruction across the Indian Ocean. Within 2 hours of the quake, the killer waves reached India, Sri Lanka, Indonesia and Thailand. An hour later, Maldives, and 7 hours later, the waves hit Mauritius and the east coast of Africa. Effects were even felt in North America and Antarctica as well. India was amongst the hardest hit regions, particularly the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The tsunami also caused considerable destructions along the coastline of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh, the South Indian states. Tearful mourners gathered on Thursday to remember the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean Tsunami, one of the world's worst natural disasters which claimed over 220,000 lives across Asia. In Indonesia, which was the hardest hit by the tsunami, residents of the Aceh province held vigil prayers commemorating the loss of lives of more than 100,000 people. Family members of the deceased gathered at a mass grave in Banda Aceh, scattering flower petals on gravestones. In Phi Phi Island in Thailand, a ceremony was held at the Sailfish Sculpture Plaza to remember the victims of the disaster that struck on December 26th. Relatives of the deceased, local residents and Thai and foreign tourists attended the event. Participants observed a minute of silence and presented floral wreaths to a team of divers who placed them at the underwater tsunami memorial of Tonsai Bay in remembrance of those hundreds of people who lost their lives due to the disaster. In Sri Lanka, where more than 35,000 people were killed, survivors and relatives gathered to remember the victims of the Ocean Queen Express train disaster. which claimed nearly 1,000 lives after the deadly tsunami struck the train. The fishermen community in Chennai took out a peace procession and offered prayers to the sea gods. This village was devastated by the tsunami in 2004, with high tidal waves reaching 1.5 kilometers on one side of the habitation.
Relatives in 2004 tragedy, we have taken out a peace march in remembrance of those. We have worshipped sea gods so that same tragedy doesn't befall our village again. And the people who perished in the tragedy get a place in heaven. We hold these prayers every year.
Commemorating the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Indian Ocean Tsunami, India's Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said that India has emerged as a global leader in disaster warning and is catering to other nations as well across the world. He added that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's path-breaking ocean initiatives like the Deep Sea Mission is being recognized as the world's most state-of-the-art institute of its kind. India's tsunami early warning system, which is being lauded internationally, was showcased as a cornerstone of nations' disaster preparedness. The minister added that the nation's plan to deploy an Indian in the deep sea by 2026 marks a historic milestone. He also added that the ocean exploration is key to the goal of developed India. India's President Draupadi Murmu conferred the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar on children for their exceptional achievements in 7 categories in New Delhi on Thursday. 17 children hailing from 14 states and union territories have been selected for the award. The government confers the Bal Puraskar to children for achievements in art and culture, bravery, innovation, science and technology, social service, sports and environment.
बहादुरी का उदाहरण पेश किया। देते हुए आपने तुरंत गैस के सिलेंडर को बड़ी बहादुरी से इनोवेट किया। आपने अटल टिंकरिंग लेबोरेटरी मैराथन में सर्वोत्तम 100 में भाग लिया। सराहना भी प्राप्त हो चुकी है। यही आपकी जिंदगी का फलसफा है।
India is observing Veer Bal Diwas today, marking the martyrdom of Sri Guru Gobind Singh's sons, the Sahibzadas Baba Zorawar Singh Ji and Baba Fateh Singh Ji. Remembering the immortal sacrifices of the Veer Sahibzade, Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended a cultural program at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. Prime Minister Modi later interacted with the children who had given the cultural performances on the occasion of the Veer Bal Diwas. Prime Minister Modi also appreciated the efforts put by the children to bring out such an organized and impressive performance. PM Modi also launched the Suposhit Gram Panchayat scheme, which aims at improving the nutritional outcomes and well-being by strengthening implementation of nutrition-related services and by ensuring active community participation.
साथियों, समय हर देश के युवा को अपने देश का भाग्य बदलने का मौका देता है। एक ऐसा कालखंड जब देश के युवा अपने साहस से, अपने सामर्थ्य से देश का कायाकल्प कर सकते हैं। देश ने आजादी की लड़ाई के समय देखा है, भारत के युवाओं ने तब विदेशी सत्ता का घमंड तोड़ दिया था। जो लक्ष्य तब के युवाओं ने तय किया, वो उसे प्राप्त करके ही रहे। अब आज के युवाओं के सामने भी विकसित भारत का लक्ष्य है।
Preparations for the Maha Kumbh Mela, the world's largest and most revered spiritual gathering, are in full swing in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. Besides rivers, a makeshift city is being built to host millions of pilgrims and visitors from across the globe. It is estimated that around 400 million pilgrims, more than the combined population of the United States and Canada, will be visiting during the 6-week-long Kumbh Mela. The sacred pilgrimage is celebrated 4 times over the course of 12 years at the site where the holy Ganges, the Yamuna and the Saraswati rivers meet. But this edition, from January 13th to February 26th, is expected to be a mega draw, as it is set to coincide with the special alignment of the planets. On to some sporting action now. Australia's top 4 batters slammed half-centuries to put the hosts in the commanding position on day 1 of the 4th test against India on Thursday. Australia reached 311 runs for the loss of 6 wickets by the close of play at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. They were aided by some inconsistent early bowling and a flying start from teenage opener Sam Constas, who stole the show on his debut. The 19-year-old blasted a hugely entertaining 60 of 65 balls, while Marnus Labuschagne and Usman Khawaja made 72 and 57 respectively. But India, led by Jasprit Bumrah, fought back to claim 4 late wickets. At close, Steve Smith was not out on 68 and Pat Cummins was on 8. In this match, former Zimbabwe captain Andy Pycroft has become only the 4th official to complete 100 games as a match referee. Indian batter Virat Kohli has been fined 20% of his match fee for breaching the ICC Code of Conduct on the first day of the 4th test against Australia in Melbourne on Thursday. The former Indian captain was found to have breached rules related to inappropriate physical contact with a player. He bumped into debutant Sam Constas when the 19-year-old walked down the pitch for a chat with the opening partner Usman Khawaja at the end of the 10th over. Kohli admitted the offence and accepted the sanction proposed by match referee Andy Pycroft. In addition to this, 1 demerit point has been added to Kohli's disciplinary record. It was his first offence in 24 months. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can catch all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.